Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What is a locust? Where do they normally live? Why did they attack India? Let's try to learn about these creatures in this video. Locust is a short-horned grasshopper and is a migratory insect from Eastern Africa and Southeast Asia. Desert locust, as the name says, they live in desert regions and they belong to the family of grasshopper and cricket. Desert locust lives about 3 to 5 months. Locusts have two phases, solitary and gregarious. In solitary phase, they do not collect in groups and they have low metabolic and oxygen intake and is sluggish. But in gregarious phase, they have increased appetite, more endurance, rapid movements and brain enlargement. When can they transform from solitary to gregarious phase? It can happen anytime during its lifetime, and this happens when the environmental conditions suits their needs. The required conditions are rain, moist soil and vegetation. When they are in solitary phase, we will not face any issues. But in gregarious phase, they change their habits and behavior. They start eating a lot and also a wide variety of food starting from leaves, shoots, flowers, fruits, seeds, stems and even bark of trees. Each locust consumes food equal to its body weight every day. That is about 2 grams every day, and they travel in groups of millions called locust swarms, and they destroy everything they pass through. How big a locust swarm can be? In Kenya, they found a swarm of 40 km by 60 km, that is 2400 square kilometers, and a 1 square kilometer size swarm contains about more than 4 crores of locusts, which eat the same amount of food in one day as about 35,000 people. The history of locust attacks. In the last 27 years, this is the worst locust attack. The last worst attack happened in 1993 in India. But these attacks are not recent and are having a long history. Even ancient Egyptians are having drawings of locusts in their tombs which are dated around 2400 BC. There are mainly two causes for these attacks. First one is because of drastic climatic changes. Because of drastically changing climate across the globe, there were heavy floods in the deserts of Africa and other regions which led to the growth of more vegetation, and this in turn led to the growth of more locusts. Rising sea temperatures due to increased greenhouse gas emissions are expected to create more favorable conditions for locust swarms in the coming years. Second reason is that many birds are dying. There is a South Indian movie, Robo 2. This movie is about how our phone networks are impacting the birds. Well, if you are not aware, the invisible mobile phone signals are affecting many bird species. And humans are not ready to stop here and are waiting for 5G technology which gives data at very much higher speeds. This is only one of the reasons why birds are dying. If more birds are alive today, they will feed on these locust swarms and we will have less impact. But unfortunately, there aren't enough birds to kill these insects. So how are humans tackling these attacks? First option is using chemical pesticides. This will kill the insects, but this will add more chemicals to our food which will have long-term effects on our health. Second option is using natural pesticides. This will have slow effect on the locusts and they will do more damage before they die. Third option is making sounds like DJ, crackers or by lightning fires when locusts attack. This is effective but not scalable. Number 4. In parts of Africa where these locust attacks are frequent, people have been eating them for centuries, and in some places people are still eating them, but it is not advisable to consume as the chemicals they feed on make them toxic for human consumption. Number 5. Locust is a good source of protein and can be used as a feed in chicken farms and is being tried in Pakistan. Now let's see some frequently asked questions to clear the rest of the doubts we have in our brains. First one, what countries are affected by the desert locust? During quiet periods known as recessions, desert locusts are usually restricted to the semi-arid and arid deserts of Africa the Near East and Southwest Asia that receives less than 200 millimeters of rain annually. This is an area of about 16 million square kilometers consisting of about 30 countries. During plagues, desert locusts may spread over an enormous area of some 29 million square kilometers extending over or into parts of 60 countries. This is more than 20% of total land surface of the world. During plagues, the desert locust has the potential to damage the livelihood of 1/10 of the world's population. How many eggs does a desert locust female produce? Desert locust females lay eggs in an egg pod primarily in sandy soils at a depth of 10 to 15 centimeters below the surface. A solitary female lays about 95 to 150 eggs, whereas a gregarious female lays usually less than 80 eggs in an egg pod. Females can lay at least 3 times in their lifetime, usually at intervals of 6 to 11 days. Up to 1,000 egg pods have been found in 1 square meter. Number 3. How far and how fast can desert locusts migrate? Desert locusts usually fly with the wind at a speed of about 16 to 19 km per hour depending on the wind. Swarms can travel about 5 to 130 km or more in a day. Locusts can stay in the air for long periods of time. For example, locusts regularly cross the Red Sea a distance of 300 km. In the past, there have been some spectacular and very long distance swarm migrations. For example, from Northwest Africa to the British Isles in 1954 and from West Africa to the Caribbean, a distance of 5,000 km in about 10 days in 1988. Solitary desert locust adults usually fly at nights, whereas gregarious adults fly during the day. Number 4. What is the relationship between locusts and ecology? When conditions are favorable for reproduction, locust numbers increase, and when they are not, numbers decrease either by natural mortality or through migration. For the desert locust, favorable conditions for breeding are moist, sandy soil to depths of 10 to 15 centimeters below the surface, some bare areas for egg laying, and green vegetation for hopper development. Often, favorable conditions may exist in the desert, but there are no locusts present. Therefore, the presence of moist soil and green vegetation does not automatically mean that there are locusts around. Number 5. Can locusts be detected by satellites? Weather satellites and other satellites used to monitor the environment cannot detect locust individuals or swarms. However, the highly sophisticated satellites used by the military can indeed detect locusts, but these images are not available. Even if they were, it is unlikely that national and international locust organizations would have the ability to interpret the hundreds of images that would be produced on a daily basis. Number 6. Why are desert locusts so difficult to control? There are many reasons as to why it is difficult to successfully combat the desert locust. Some of these are the extremely large area within which the locust can be found, the remoteness and difficult access to such areas, the insecurity or lack of safety such as landmines in some areas, the limited resources for locust monitoring and control in some of the affected countries, the undeveloped basic infrastructure in many countries, the difficulty in maintaining a sufficient number of trained staff and functioning resources during the long periods of recession in which there is a little or no locust activity, political relations among affected countries, the difficulty in organizing and implementing control operations in which the pesticide must be applied directly onto locusts, and the difficulty in predicting outbreaks given the lack of periodicity of such incidents and the uncertainty of rainfall in locust areas.